Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. I hope your day and your weekend are going very well so far. It is officially upon us. The Super Bowl is here. We got a pretty solid matchup here between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs. And as always, guys, I've got some really great picks to go ahead and share with you. But first, as always, people, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. Guys, I am so excited to start talking about today's game because it's the Super Bowl, guys. It is one of the best times of the year. We wait all year long for this big game. And despite what a lot of people will say about the matchup, and I know there's a lot of Chiefs fatigue and everything, this actually is a really solid matchup between what were truly the two best teams in the NFL this year. By the way, guys, speaking about the big game, make sure to check out all the great Super Bowl content we have here on the Guy Boston Sports YouTube channel. Obviously, you're watching my video here. We also have Ev's individual Super Bowl picks video. We have Trey's individual Super Bowl picks video. And we also have our H to H Super Bowl edition that came out a couple days ago. So a lot of great Super Bowl content here on the channel. I'm sure Ev has some more stuff planned as well. So if you are watching my video here today, thank you very much. But make sure to go ahead and check out all the other great Super Bowl content we have over here on the Guy Boston Sports YouTube channel. And one more thing before we dive into this game and I give you my Super Bowl picks, this obviously, with it being the Super Bowl, this will be my final football video of this year. A little bit of a bittersweet moment. Obviously, a really great game and a really great video to make, but it is the last football video for quite some time. I want to thank each and every one of you who have supported me all season long. This is my second year covering football over here on the Guy Boston Sports YouTube channel. Whether you supported me on my weekly NFL pick show, the NFL Oracle, whether you watch my Sunday Night Football videos, my single game videos, whatever the case may be, I appreciate your support. H to H Season 2 was a huge success. My viewership on all of my football videos quadrupled this year, and I'm really fortunate for that. Through the wins and, yes, the losses, I appreciate you guys a lot. So thank you very much from the bottom of my heart for supporting myself, not just myself though, but also the channel, Ev and Trey, all season long with our football content. I love football. I love doing it between college football and NFL. I love making the videos for you guys. Like I said, very bittersweet video here because it is, one of the best times of the year, a celebration of football. However, it is obviously the end of football for quite some time. All right, guys, no more time to waste. Let's go ahead and dive into this Super Bowl matchup between the Eagles and the Chiefs. And I mentioned it at the top of the video, guys. I've seen a lot of negative discourse surrounding this game, and a lot of it has to do, obviously, with the Chiefs fatigue. Now, being a Patriots fan myself, this is not an unfamiliar territory for me. I think a lot of people felt this way going into that 2018 Super Bowl between the Pats and the Rams. There was a lot of similar discourse in that Super Bowl as well, and I'm sensing a lot of it now. I have a lot of personal friends. I know a lot of people who are saying they don't even want to watch this game altogether, which I think is a little bit crazy. Look, you can have your Chiefs fatigue, and you can even be maybe an Eagles hater or whatever, but I think it's hard to not admit that this is a really good Super Bowl matchup. Like I said earlier, I truly do believe that these were the two best teams in the NFL and the right teams to be playing in the Super Bowl. Honestly, from Thanksgiving on, I don't know there's any other teams better than these two. Obviously, you have your Detroits and your Buffaloes and your Washingtons and, Baltimores. You have some really good teams, but the Chiefs and the Eagles, basically from Thanksgiving and honestly probably before Thanksgiving on, we had a pretty good idea that these two teams could be playing each other in the big game. So it feels right, honestly, that these two teams are here. And I don't really want to spend too much time diving into the analytics here because realistically, these are two of the best teams in the NFL. The data on both sides for these teams is really, really solid. I mean, just taking a look at the DVOA numbers, in terms of total team rankings, the Eagles ranked 5th in the NFL this year in overall DVOA. The Chiefs ranked 8th in the NFL in overall DVOA. If you want to go ahead and narrow it down to offense and defense, the Chiefs ranked 8th in the NFL in offensive DVOA, 11th in passing, 12th in rushing. The Eagles 13th in offensive DVOA, which I'm actually kind of surprised they're ranked that low, but their passing attack really hasn't been that potent this year. 14th overall in the NFL in passing offense DVOA, 6th in rushing offense DVOA. Obviously, a lot of that is owed to the success and the incredible story that is Saquon Barkley as a Philadelphia Eagle. And then looking at the defensive numbers, you have the number 1 ranked team in the NFL this year in terms of DVOA in the Philadelphia Eagles. They're ranked 2nd in passing DVOA, 2nd in rushing DVOA. So really good defensive numbers there overall for the Eagles. And then Kansas City, they are still a pretty solid defense, ranked 12th in the NFL in defensive DVOA. This is a really, really solid run defense, 9th overall in the National Football League. 17th against the pass. The pass defense this year, with a couple of losses they had in the offseason, is definitely not as potent as it's been in years past for Kansas City. But make no mistake, this is still a really solid Chiefs defense, of course, mastered by defensive mastermind, defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo. And like I said, I could go on and on and on and on, all the metrics and the numbers and the rankings and all that stuff, but all you guys really need to understand is these are the 2 titans of the NFL. They're ranked very high on both sides of the football. Are there some little weaknesses here and there? Of course there are. Every team, even the best teams, have even the minor weaknesses. But the moral of the story is we've got a really, really fun and solid matchup on our hands here. I do want to talk real quick before I give my first pick in today's video, because I don't want to ramble too much. I know you guys are here for picks. You're not here to necessarily hear me go on and on and on about factors that don't necessarily dive into the picks. I wanted a real quick comment on the conversation surrounding the referee stuff and the flag situation with the Chiefs. I've talked about it a little bit over on H2H, and I got a lot of shit for it, honestly, my opinion on it. Look, have the Chiefs been getting favorable calls? I do think so. And I think even if you were the hardest core Chiefs fan, diest of hardcore Chiefs fan, I don't know if I'm saying that right, the most die-hard Kansas City Chiefs fan out there, I think even you have to admit the Chiefs definitely get a little bit of favor. I'm not saying a ton, but a little bit of favoritism when it comes to the calls from the referees. And I'm saying this as a New England Patriots fan who benefited from similar circumstances. Look, the Patriots, and obviously during the run, did I love admitting this? No, you never want to admit that your team gets a little bit of favoritism. But the Patriots, when they had Tom Brady, definitely had those same things happen. Drive would stall out, and then you get a ghost roughing the passer call or a weird pass interference call that wasn't really pass interference, or the way that they would spot the ball. Look, the best teams and the best players, they sometimes get that special treatment. It's the truth. If you guys don't believe me, you really haven't been watching football long enough. Now, all that being said, I am not on the, hate the Chiefs bandwagon because of that, because I do think it's a normal thing. The heavyweight teams do get some special treatment, especially from the referees. But I think at the end of the day, the Chiefs are great. They were not winning because of the referees. They're winning because they are a great football team. And that's the only reason why I wanted to approach this subject. I don't want to spend too much time on it because I don't want to feed the flames of it, because it's been such a huge conversation and talking piece surrounding the Super Bowl is the referee stuff and the Chiefs' favoritism from the referees. And like I said, I'm not going to sit here and deny it, because you definitely, that Texans game in particular, some very questionable calls from the referees that definitely benefited Kansas City in that game. But guys, watch that game. Houston, even if you take away some of those questionable calls, the Texans were not winning that football game. They were not the better team. CJ Stroud struggled in that game. The Chiefs were the better team. They won the game fair and square. Yes, there were some questionable calls, but at the end of the day, it was Kansas City that took care of business in that game. Even their last time out against the Buffalo Bills, were there some questionable calls in the Chiefs' favor? Yes, but Josh Allen in a 3-point game had the ball less than 2 minutes ago with a chance to at least tie it or win the game outright, and he didn't. And that's just kind of what it comes down to at the end of the day. I'm not a Chiefs defender. I'm a Patriots fan. I do not want to see Mahomes reach the levels of Tom Brady, trust me, but you got to acknowledge this team is honestly a truly great team, one of the all-time great runs in NFL history. And I do think it kind of sucks for the Chiefs and even their fans. A lot of the discourse surrounding the Super Bowl is discussion with the referee and all that stuff. So I'm not going to talk any bit more because we're already a little bit deep into this video and I haven't given out a pick yet, but just want to talk about the game a little bit and kind of talk about some of the conversation surrounding the Super Bowl, which I think is a little bit unfair because I do think the Chiefs are truly a great team regardless of the favoritism they might get from the referees. All right, enough on that. Let's get back to talking about the game itself. Now, I just felt like we had to talk about it a little bit because it is a major conversation surrounding the Super Bowl. But the question on everybody's minds here and why you're watching this video in the first place is, well, what do I think is going to happen in this game? I'm not going to make you guys wait any longer. My first pick in this video, and it's a money line pick. We're going with the Kansas City Chiefs on the money line here, minus 115. And look, I get it. America doesn't want the Chiefs to win. Nobody really outside of Chiefs Kingdom wants them to win this football game. But I'm telling you guys, I think Kansas City, not by a lot, but I do think that Kansas City is the better football team in this matchup. Patrick Mahomes has reached that level already in his career that Tom Brady had, where the mantra is there. You don't bet against Patrick Mahomes in the same way that during the Patriots runs, you don't bet against Tom Brady. You might be wrong once in a while, like when the Chiefs lost to Tom Brady and the Buccaneers in the Super Bowl, but more often than not, when you're betting on the side of the Kansas City Chiefs, you're going to come out victorious. I mean, hell, the Kansas City Chiefs are literally 13-0 in their last 13 games as a favorite. I'll repeat that one more time. The Chiefs are 13-0 in each of their last 13 games as a favorite outright. It may not always be pretty. It may not be always the flashiest of wins, but the Chiefs take care of business. And the one big thing I'm looking at in this game, because like I said, I can go on and on about the superstars. Both of these teams are loaded. The Eagles are loaded on offense and defense. The Chiefs are loaded on offense and defense. Although, again, I mentioned earlier, the Chiefs secondary leaves some things to be desired. What I really boil it down to here, guys, is the quarterback head coach duo, which is a super important thing in moments like these. And at the end of the day, I trust Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes more than I trust Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. Specifically, the Jalen Hurts thing is where I'm looking at in this game. The reason I'm going with the Chiefs money line here is I want nothing to do with the spread. Yeah, the spread's only 1.5, and you probably get it for a little bit better value than getting the money line. But I don't want to mess around with the spread because I do think this is going to be a really tight game that it's going to come down to the wire. But it's because of that thought process that I love the Chiefs in this spot, because at the end of the day, with the game on the line, late in the game, who do I trust more, Reid and Mahomes or Sirianni and Hurts? And it's clearly Reid and Mahomes. Not trying to take anything away from the Eagles in this spot because they've had a fantastic year, but a lot of their offensive success has been on the back of Saquon Barkley kind of carrying this offense. Jalen Hurts has not been bad this year, but I wouldn't say he's been great either. Their passing attack is, the best way I can describe it is, it's okay, it's fine, it gets the job done, but it's not really wowing anybody. Again, you look at the DVOA numbers offensively, they were middle of the road, ranked 14th in the NFL in passing DVOA offensively. And they have the talent, they've got the weapons between A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, and Jalen Hurts throwing the football. They have the pieces to make a competent passing game, but I do have my legitimate concerns and doubts regarding Jalen Hurts in this game, because I do think, now you're not going to stop Saquon Barkley, you're not going to shut him down, but I do think the Chiefs defensively can have the ability to slow him down in this game. Like I said earlier, Steve Spagnuolo, he is a defensive genius, and this run defense was a top 10 run defense in the NFL this year. I think they can definitely slow Saquon down, and a lot of their game plan is going to be going after Saquon Barkley. So if the Eagles are going to beat the Chiefs in this game, it's going to have to be in large part due to Jalen Hurts and his arm, because I don't think they're going to be able to rely on Saquon Barkley in the same way they have all season long. Again, could I be completely wrong on this point? Absolutely. But if you're going to beat the Chiefs here, it's going to have to be not just with Saquon, because Saquon has to play his part, but Jalen Hurts. And that's the part where I'm iffy on the Eagles. Can Jalen Hurts take care of business against this Chiefs defense? Now, they clearly have weaknesses, especially against the tight end position. We'll talk about that in a little bit with one of our player props. Can Jalen Hurts make the big time throws? Can he avoid the mistakes? Can he step up for the Eagles in a way that he didn't the last time out in the Super Bowl 2 years ago? And on the flip side for the Eagles defense, they rank, like I mentioned earlier, this is one of the best defense, if not the best defense in the National Football League this year. However, a lot of inexperience on the defensive side of the football for the Eagles. A lot of the key guys from their defensive run last time in the Super Bowl a couple years ago, a lot of those key pieces are gone, and those who are still there are definitely a lot older now. I mean, the secondary alone, you've got a lot of rookies and second-year players, and yeah, you still got like Darius Slay and C.J. Gardner-Johnson, a couple of veterans, but Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, some of these key contributors for this Eagles defense, they are definitely on the younger side, a lot more green. Even their linebacking core, their defensive line, this is a very young defense, and they played very well so far, but the Super Bowl is the brightest of bright lights, and I do wonder, going up against Patrick Mahomes and this Chiefs offense, will they hold up the same as they have all season long? A lot of question marks with this Eagles team. I don't have as many question marks with the Chiefs. The Chiefs have been here now many times. This is already, they're going for the three-peat, obviously. This is now, I believe, their 5th Super Bowl appearance. In the last 6 years, they're going for their 4th Super Bowl title overall. They've been here. Reid, Mahomes, Kelce, Chris Jones, a lot of these guys have been here through it all. And even the ones who weren't here through necessarily all the Super Bowls, the majority of this Chiefs team is very much experienced and used to being here. And I do think that experience goes a long way in terms of winning this matchup against the Eagles. Again, I'm not saying that Kansas City is going to run away with this game. It's going to be a tight game. It's going to be a very competitive game, but I do think at the end of the day, the Chiefs are the smarter play in this spot. I just think in a game where I predict is going to be pretty close, you're going to have Patrick Mahomes late in the game making those big-time throws, making those big-time plays. I'm not sure if this young Eagles defense is prepared to stop that. The Chiefs are the healthiest they've been in a long time. They've got their full offensive weapons now. They're leaving nothing on the table. Everything's on the board now for Kansas City from a play calling perspective. They're not holding anything back. I think the Chiefs are very dangerous here, and I think the Chiefs are probably going to go ahead and pull off the three-piece. So we're going Chiefs money line, -115. I do apologize, guys. I know this video is probably going to go a little longer than normal, but it is the last video of the year. It is the Super Bowl. We got a lot to talk about here. So, yeah, moving on to the player prop portion now of today's video. We're going to move on over to the outlier screen to kind of go through the player props in today's video. By the way, guys, I'm giving a ton of picks in this video, but I have given picks in other videos that I haven't given here. For example, H2H, we had some fun novelty props. We had some other plays in that game, so make sure to go ahead and check out H2H, our Super Bowl edition video with myself and Ev. We did give more picks out in that video. But our first player prop in this video, we're going Dallas Goedert of the Philadelphia Eagles over 4.5 receptions, which we're getting for -128 on FanDuel. It's available on multiple sports books for varying odds. It all depends on what sports book is available to you guys. Dallas Goedert over 4.5 receptions. The overall data is not fantastic on this prop for Goedert. You see he's cashed the over in just 3 of his last 10 games. That's a 30% hit rate, averaging 4 receptions per game over his last 10 games. Overall this year, a 31% hit rate on this over, 4 out of 13 games. He's cashed, averaging 4.38 receptions per game this season. So Tasso, why do you like this player prop if the data doesn't look great? Well, the last time we saw him versus Washington, he did have a really big game. He had 7 catches in that NFC Championship game against the Washington Commanders, so he has had some pretty good games. And even the games where he's missing, they're close misses. 4 receptions, 4 receptions, 4 receptions. He's averaging 4.4 receptions per game over the last 5 games. So the volume is certainly there. Look at the target share for Dallas Goedert over the last 5 games. He's averaging about 5.6 targets per game. So he's getting a decent amount of work here. And going down below to the target share, he's the 3rd most targeted player in this Eagles offense behind A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. But the key reason I really like this player prop is the matchup here versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Like I mentioned, the one key weakness they have on defense is their secondary. It's not a terrible secondary. It's not as strong as it was a year ago, but their one key issue is stuff over the middle, specifically with tight ends. They've struggled all year long defending the tight end position. Now, overall, in terms of receptions, they are 22nd in the NFL, giving up 22.1 receptions per game to opposing players overall. If we narrow that into the tight end position, this is one of the worst defenses in the NFL in terms of receptions allowed to opposing tight ends. They're ranked 29th in the NFL, giving up 6.4 receptions per game against opposing tight ends. So a pretty good matchup here. The Chiefs, again, they struggle versus tight ends. I do think Philadelphia, like I mentioned earlier, and we're going to talk about a little bit more in just a second, I do think the Chiefs defensively are going to key in on Saquon Barkley, key in on that running game. Again, they're not going to stop Saquon, but I do think this defense has the potential to at least disrupt some things in their running game and at least slow him down a little bit compared to what he has been doing. I don't expect a game like he did versus Washington last week or a couple weeks ago in the NFC Championship game. So in that scenario, Jalen Hurts is going to have to throw the football more than he normally does. And in that scenario, I do think Dallas Goedert is a pretty good bet because the matchup seems to be pretty solid. I think Goedert has the potential to have a really big day if the Eagles are going to win and or stay competitive in this game. So I do like Dallas Goedert over 4.5 receptions, despite the fact that the overall data is not that great. I do think the matchup is worth taking a chance on this player prop. And I've kind of been alluding to this all video long. My second player prop, my 3rd pick overall in this video, we're going Saquon Barkley of the Eagles under 109.5 rushing yards, which we're getting for -110 over on FanDuel. And again, another player prop where the data is not that great. Overall this year, just a 42% hit rate on this under. 8 out of 19 games, he's cashed the under. He's averaging 128.79 rushing yards per game this season. If we narrow this down to the last 10 games, just a 20% hit rate over the last 10 games for Saquon Barkley. He's averaging a whopping 145.6 rushing yards per game over his last 10 games. However, let's go ahead and look at the defensive matchups here in terms of defenses versus the run. So look at over these matchups here, okay? Washington, 30th against the run, one of the worst run defenses in the NFL. The Rams, 22nd run defense in the NFL. We have a cash on the under here. The Ravens, the number 1 ranked run defense in the NFL. You've got the Panthers, ranked the worst run defense in the NFL. And then, again, another cash for the under. You got Pittsburgh here, the 6th best run defense in the NFL. And then the rest of these cashes are all against, again, bad run defense. Washington, 30th. You see Washington 3 times are going to pop up in this data. They had a really bad run defense. Washington was just not a good matchup for the Eagles in that NFC Championship game. Dallas, also not a good run defense. Green Bay was the only one where they actually had a top 10 run defense. But again, it wasn't one of his best performances. 119 rushing yards is obviously nothing to scoff at. But compared to some of his other games, it was pretty close to the line of that under. And then again, so far in the playoffs, besides that Green Bay game, you had LA, again, not a good run defense, and the Commanders, one of the worst run defenses. Now you're going up against a top 10 defense in the NFL in terms of rushing yards. Look at overall, the Chiefs 8th in rushing yards allowed, giving up 101.8 rushing yards per game this year, versus running backs, the 3rd best defense in the NFL. They're giving up just shy of 70 rushing yards per game against opposing teams. Now, some of that has to do with the fact the Chiefs are always usually leading, so teams have to throw on them more, so you're not usually running the ball too often on the Chiefs. That does play into the data a little bit, but the Chiefs' run defense has been solid all year long. Again, I still think Saquon's going to have a season game. I still think Saquon will probably get 100 rushing yards. I think he's going to be pretty close to this line. However, I don't think we're going to see one of the coveted big Saquon games we've kind of grown accustomed to this year. I do think Saquon under 109.5 rushing yards is the safer bet, honestly, which is crazy to say, than betting is over. I think the Chiefs defense with Steve Spagnuolo, what he's got cooked up for Saquon, should be able to slow him down. Again, 105 rushing yards is a really good game. However, 105 rushing yards would cash the under in this circumstance. So I do think the under is the right play here at 109.5 yards for Saquon Barkley. All right, guys, on my last player prop in today's video, we're going with the Chiefs side of things. Travis Kelce, anytime touchdown, which we're getting for plus 135 over on DraftKings here. The data is not fantastic. You guys are going to think I'm crazy. None of the data really has been great on a lot of these player props, but he has scored a couple touchdowns over the last few games. If we narrow this down, he's cashed in 2 of his last 5 games. He hasn't been the touchdown scoring threat he normally has been. And it's not like it's a fantastic matchup. The Eagles 10th right now in the NFL in terms of touchdowns allowed to the tight end position, so they're not giving up a ton of touchdowns to tight ends, but this is Mahomes' trusted guy. He's been here through all of their Super Bowls. If you don't think Travis Kelce is going to have himself a kind of a day here, you're mistaken. There is nobody else on this football field he trusts more than Travis Kelce, and especially in a big game, a player like Kelce, who is more experienced than any player on the field next to maybe Mahomes himself, it's a great spot here. I think he's going to get his targets. Obviously, he's the most targeted player on this team, 23.3% target share overall. In the red zone, still number 1 at 26% target share in the red zone. And again, this is Mahomes' trusted guy. You know, the Super Bowl, the Taylor Swift thing, you can go ahead and say that's the reason why. And obviously, this is going to probably be a bit of a public play. But I do think Travis Kelce to score a touchdown, what could very well be his last Super Bowl. I mean, maybe he retires after this year. I think he probably has at least another year or 2 left. But he's nearing the end of his career. This could very well be the final Super Bowl he gets to play in. Although, with the way the Chiefs have been playing lately, if he plays more years, pretty good bet he'll get back here. I just think Kelce shows out in games like these. He's Mahomes' trusted guy. Again, I know the data isn't great, although the last time he played the Eagles, which was back in November of last year, he did score a touchdown in that game. Again, overall this year, not great, just a 22% hit rate on this over. But if there's anyone in this game, especially on the Chiefs side of things, that I would expect to score a touchdown, Travis Kelce is my best bet. And for plus 135 odds too, really sound value. So those are all my player props, guys. Again, I have more picks. We did some novelty props and some more player props over on H2H. We had like DeAndre Hopkins over in receptions. We had Patrick Mahomes over in passing attempts. We had some novelty props. A lot of fun stuff over there. Gatorade color, halftime show bets, a lot of fun stuff. So make sure to check out that video. I didn't really do too many novelty props here. Although if you guys are looking for a couple novelty props, I don't have the odds in front of me, but coin toss, you got to go tails because tails never fails. And the national anthem, I do like the over for, I think it's set for 120 seconds. I'm not familiar with who's doing the national anthem. I think it's a jazz player, if I'm not mistaken. Not a Utah Jazz player, like a jazz musician. So I do like the over in time there. So that's it, guys. Those are all my picks. I know the video went a little long here, but again, final football video of the year, Super Bowl. Felt like I had to go a little bit longer. Guys, one more time from the bottom of my heart, thank you for a great second NFL season covering football here on the Guy Boston Sports YouTube channel. I've had a lot of fun. It's been a great year. I enjoy doing these videos for you. I am foaming at the mouth to get the opportunity to do this again next year. Next year, we're going to be even bigger, even better. It's been a great year. We had 100,000 subscribers this year during the football season. It's been an incredible run, and we couldn't do it without you guys. So one more time, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Not just for the support in the NFL, but also college football and all of the sports we do. And just because football is ending, the fun doesn't stop there. We've got a ton of great NBA content. We have my daily player prop videos. We've got Ev's daily NBA picks video. We're going to be having NBA H to H coming out very soon. Baseball's around the corner. I do MLB player prop videos. Ev does daily MLB pick videos. So a lot of fun stuff, guys, that is still to come. Tons of great content still to come here on the channel. So just because football is over doesn't mean the fun here at Guy Boston Sports ends. So, guys, again, make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, drop a comment down below, and let me know who you think is winning this game, Eagles or Chiefs, down below in the comment section. You know what? Let's do a little giveaway. I know I waited a long time at the end of the video, so a lot of people might not see this, but again, it's kind of a little reward for those who did stick around and watched all the way through. For those who did stick around all the way through, we're doing a little giveaway contest. Comment the whoever you think is going to win down below, and it doesn't matter if they win or lose. Just drop a comment, and we're going to give away a $25 Amazon gift card to one lucky commenter who comments either Eagles or Chiefs, whoever they think is going to win the Super Bowl, as one last giveaway to close out the football season. But guys, enough rambling. Thank you very much always for watching. We'll see you next time. Until then, hope you're all winners. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Have some fun. Let's go ahead and make some money.